Gotta get ready for this one. So I thought this week it'd be a good idea to share the tips that I've learned over the Hey, I'm Alexa, I run the Decadent Dream Instagram and Etsy store. Don't forget to subscribe if you're new here. Today I'm doing a tutorial because it's been requested. I thought, why not? I have some good tips that I've learned over the years. I've been doing Decadent for about 2 years now. I don't want to talk too much, you know, let's just get right into the video because people searching for tutorials aren't just looking for my life story, you know? So the first thing you'll need are obviously the supplies. I'm gonna go through them real quick. You've seen me use all these things, but I haven't specifically listed them out for you really, so let's start with the phone case, the base. You wanna look for phone cases that are kind of like hard plastic on the back. When I first started doing this, I used like flexible phone cases and the silicone wouldn't stick as well, and these, I'm not kidding when I tell you, you can't get the silicone off if you wanted to. You can, but not completely. Like you can't peel it all off. It'll be like coming off in chunks because it really wants to adhere to this type of plastic. So what I look for in phone cases when I buy them are a couple materials, either acrylic or polycarbonate. TPU, I think, is the flexible one. So if you find one that's polycarbonate and TPU, that's okay. Or acrylic and TPU, that's okay. But you don't want a completely TPU phone case. I don't know what that stands for, but it's gonna be way too flexible and the silicone won't stick to it. A polycarbonate and acrylic case is like the best. Sometimes you'll find really, really stiff phone cases and those are like awesome. And then whatever the bumper is made out of doesn't really matter. I think this is like a TPU bumper with like an acrylic back, I wanna say. I don't know exactly, I threw the box away already. But speaking of phone cases, another tip I have is that if you start like actually making a bunch of phone cases all the time, you're gonna wanna label the phone case like the second you open the box because they all look the same kind of. So like this says 11 on the back in really small letters. Yeah, I have mixed up phone cases before and had to redo them for customers, and that's a whole predicament. It's very stressful. I just give them like usually a full, well, I'm not gonna tell you if that I give them a full refund because I could get somebody telling me it's the wrong case just so I give them the refund, but never mind, forget about that. Just always label your cases and don't mix them up. Next is like the means of scratching the back of the phone case. I know you guys see me use scissors a lot. I can't recommend it because it's pretty dangerous. I caught myself one time doing it, barely. I see a lot of people use a nail file or sandpaper. My advice with that would be to use like the very large grain sandpaper so that it creates like very deep scratches, because you want it to be as rough as possible, the back of this phone case, for the silicone to stick to it. I feel like it would stick a little bit if you just never scratched it at all, but definitely scratch it up with something. That's why I kind of go hard with the scissors because I feel like I really want it deep in there, but I don't think you really have to do that. I'm gonna test out sandpaper or a nail file soon because I'm doing this like stream where we're all gonna make a phone case at once, and I do not want anybody using scissors, like scratching the case like I do. I'm gonna see if it works, and if it does, I'm just gonna ditch the scissors altogether. People have told me like, why do you do that? But I'm just like, I really wanna make sure it sticks. I don't know. You'll need scissors in general though, because there's a lot of things like cutting the piping bags. So I guess we'll move on to the piping bags and piping tip. These are 12-inch bags. They're plenty big enough. When I fill them with silicone to cover an entire case, it only comes to about there, which is like max capacity for a 12-inch bag. Somebody asked, like, show me how to do a triple tone, so that's what I'm gonna use today to show you how to do this, which it's a little advanced, but I have like 4 piping bags here and that's why. Oh, and the piping tip. I think people use different piping tips, but the video that taught me how to do Decoden, which I'll link below because it's pretty much like the same kind of thing that I'm doing, they said to use a number 21 and it looks the best in my opinion. I've used other ones and I can insert a picture, but they look a little bit different and I really like the 21. Moving on to the silicone. So I always think this is an H, but it's a G and an E. Like, tell me how it says GE. It doesn't. But the one I like is this clear silicone, and it's the C921. And it has the best smell, which seems weird, but I've gotten like cheaper silicones before, like trying to cut costs, and they smelled so bad I couldn't even ship the case out for like days because I'm like, I can't let the customer smell this. So this one's fine. It smells like okay, I guess. And I think it's one of the higher quality ones. You're not gonna find this at like a small hardware store. They only have these at Walmart, and they have them at like Home Depot and Lowe's and stuff. They make tubes this size, 10.1 ounces, and then they also make tubes like 2 point something ounces. And if you get those, I would get 2 of them for one phone case because it takes about half of this for one phone case. Next is a silicone gun. When I first started doing this, I didn't have a silicone gun, and what I did was take something like the tip of a ketchup bottle or like a barbecue sauce and just stick it in here and then like push it really hard to get it to come out because I didn't have a silicone gun, which is like really dumb because these are only like $2. This one was like $1 something at Walmart, and you don't need anything better than this. They make really expensive ones, I guess, for people that are doing precision work with the actual gun, but we're only using it to get the silicone out, so get the cheapest one you can find, which seems like $1 is the cheapest possible. So next you'll need something like this that you can open the piping bags and they'll like stay open. This is like an old pencil holder that I like had around the house. I didn't go out and like buy anything. You could use like a cup or like literally anything that's like this shape. You'll need some tape. Can't recommend post office tape. I hate post office tape, but that's my own fault, you know, for getting my tape all the time. Last but not least, I think this is it. You'll need some cups. I always used like red Solo cups and cut them because I just had them around, but I just recently got these. If you don't have any cups at all, you can actually just use like a water bottle and cut it, like literally any small cup. Popsicle stick to mix the silicone. When I haven't had popsicle sticks in the past, I've used like old pencils, plastic silverware, like not the actual silverware, but like the handle of it because it's like flat. And then you'll just need like acrylic paint. Like these are like the 50-cent ones, I think, from Walmart. I don't know specifically the ones in my hands, how much they were. They're very cheap. I wouldn't spend anything like crazy because you literally only use like a single drop of them. And I'll show you that later because I do have like a secret tip about that. That was kind of long now that I went through the supplies. I have everything linked down below and I made myself like Amazon affiliate links. So like if you buy the stuff, I guess I get like a percentage, but you don't have to pay extra. That's cool. I know, you know, this is my dream to do this full time, so I gotta like start doing stuff like that. I'm sorry, like, that's just how it is. You know how it is. Oh, decorations. I never mentioned the decorations. Decorations you can get like a number of places. The first time I ever made a case, I went to like Joann's or Michael's and bought embroidery buttons, which look like the little, you see them on other people's cases sometimes because I'm not the only one that's done it. It's I don't know, they're like little tiny figures and they usually have like a loop in the back so you can sew them onto something, but that loop actually helps them stick in the silicone once it dries. Another thing you can do is get resin pieces from like an Etsy artist. There's like this one girl I buy a bunch of resin decorations from, and in my opinion, the resin decorations look the best, especially the huge ones. When I see like a really, really good Decoden creator, they always have a bunch of cases, all the same theme with giant resin, like bows and hearts. They look amazing, and I don't know, I can never like get that look somehow. I try so hard. Or another thing you can do is go on Amazon and search for slime charms, and sometimes I'll search like kawaii, I know I pronounced that wrong, it's my Midwest accent, kawaii slime charms, or like cute slime charms, or just like slime charm grab bag. I'll put pictures and I'll link those below too, because Amazon will send, it'll be like a 100-piece grab bag of a bunch of different slime charms, and they'll be like all food themed or all purple or whatever you want. Then you do rainbow, random, and they worked out pretty good. They're really cute usually. And then the last thing you can do is make your own decorations out of clay. These are from polymer clay and they take a long time to make. That's why I always charge extra when I have a case that has these on it. They look really good too because you can make like literally whatever you want. I think I'll do an updated tutorial on how to do these like polymer clay pieces because I don't freehand draw these. Like I kind of like put them on tracing paper and then like transfer them onto the clay. You do still need a steady hand to paint these really small details, but it makes it a little bit easier that you don't have to draw. So we've covered supplies. Now I'm gonna start making the case. The first step is to scratch the back, which everyone's seen me do if you've seen my channel before, but if you're new, start maybe scratching it with your sandpaper. Don't use scissors like this. I probably should have never used scissors like this on the internet because, I don't know, it probably encourages danger and stuff, but just use some sandpaper, it's no big deal. Probably be easier too. So the case is scratched. The next thing you'll want to do is design your case. So you can do this like however you want. I kind of just like put the pieces on there, move them around until I feel like it looks good. I'm gonna get more decorations out though than just these. Candy maybe? I don't want it to be like too much. Like I kind of feel like less is more with this one. So that's the other thing. Like when you're designing it, I guess you want it to be balanced. So like sometimes I feel like if I put like red up at the top, I should put red up at the bottom, like kind of balance it out. Or like if there's something really big at the top, maybe put something big at the bottom. Or like, I don't know, I like symmetry, but not perfect symmetry either. Just whatever feels right, I guess. There's no rules. And I'm sorry, but I've never seen Naruto. I've never watched it, I'm sorry, so I can't think like, oh, this is an inside joke from the show. Like, I have no idea. I know there's something with like a bowl of soup, I think. I saw him like, a picture of him running with soup in his hand, and I was like, I can make that out of clay, but I decided not to, and I went with like this knife thing instead. Cause then, so that's the thing. So I was thinking like, okay, Naruto, there's a picture of him running with like a bowl of soup, so I searched like Naruto soup, and like it's an actual soup. So now I'm thinking like, is his name like, is he nicknamed after soup? Or like, now I'm just thinking of the like Kylo Ren, like like good soup, but it's not Kylo Ren. I don't know why, just like Adam Driver is just Kylo Ren and not Adam Driver. It's like, I don't think it was supposed to be Kylo Ren. I'm pretty sure it was just Adam Driver. It'd be so weird to be an actor and then like, you're just known for like characters. I really like him in the middle. So like when I do something out of clay like this, I kind of picture like if someone's taking their phone and like taking a selfie, the stuff up here is what's gonna show. So I kind of like to put the clay in focus sometimes and like put it at the top. So I think he's going in the middle and I'll put the cloud at the bottom. I think that's the design right there. It's not too much. much, it's just a little bit, you know. This step's important unless you have like a photographic memory. Because like when I did this with my cousin, she didn't take a picture and I was like, okay, like we can't all be that smart. So I usually just take a picture of the design so I don't forget when I'm making it. And then after that, you can start mixing the silicone. So I just like throw that to the side. It's pretty self-explanatory, silicone gun. You just like, you have to pinch that to pull this thing out and then like throw the silicone in there and there you go. And then you just squeeze it and it comes out. One other thing, I guess, a tip with this is that it does have this little stick. I don't know if you can see that. It folds out and that's so you can, that's so you can poke the silicone like after you open it. Cause like when you cut the tip off, the silicone is still sealed. But I find that like using this, it doesn't create enough flow. Where like if it's this skinny, the hole that the silicone's coming out, squeezing this is like impossible. So I just stick the scissors, like stick them in there, twist them around so it's like a real big hole and you can just like squeeze it out easily. So for like a medium-sized phone, like an 11, very common, or like an XR, with this specific gun, I don't know other guns, so this is maybe irrelevant. This is the one from Walmart. Squeezing this about 7-8 times will cover the whole case. I've tried to measure it, but the cases vary so much. And then sometimes even the squeezes vary, which is interesting. But I think that's because of the hole I cut at the top. It's like if it's skinnier, it's not gonna come out as much. I don't know how far that moves with each squeeze, kind of depends. This spring might be wearing down, I think. Because if that spring pushed it further, it would go like, it would just be a little more sturdy. No one cares. So perfect. So the questions I have are, first, is it squishy? I always thought it was hard, but in one video it looked softish. There's actually 2, maybe 3 ways to do Decoden. I don't know if there's 3. I know there's 2 for sure. One of the ways is using like a clay type base, and that one to me I feel like would be hard once it dries, but using silicone, it's definitely squishy. Here's one I made recently. So it's like flexible. You can see that. And there are Decoden kits out there. I've never used one. I thought that would be a good idea to do a video like testing a Decoden kit versus the silicone and stuff. So I might do that pretty soon. I don't know really where to get them. How do you know how much color to put in to get the right shade? So this I'll show. This is like one of my hacks. Since we're doing a triple tone, I'm gonna do a little bit extra silicone. If you're doing a single phone case, like an XR or an 11 or something, I would fill like one of these cups almost to the top. I think I'll do like 6 squeezes in each one. That should be good, which I know is extra. I hate having extra, but it's better than running out, especially on a triple tone. And then this case will be on my Etsy as well. It's an iPhone 11, not Pro or anything, though I don't know if they're the same. This is like my best hack that I ever discovered. So you get your silicone, I'm not gonna use a lot, I don't wanna waste it. So you might remember this Finding Nemo case. It's pretty bold, blue and orange. The thing is, if you use too much paint, the silicone won't dry, maybe ever. It might dry eventually. Like I made this case blindfolded for my second YouTube video ever, and it wasn't dry like literally a month later, I kid you not, and now it is, but it's because when I was blindfolded, I just squeezed the paint like completely in there. And you'll notice too, if you put too much paint, the silicone will be like watery. So you wanna use the tiniest amount possible. So this is the hack. You use a super dark color. Actually, let me do it with this really dark green because you can see how dark this is. It's like forest green. The secret is to use like the tiniest bit ever of a bold, super dark color. So then when you mix it, now you got like a pretty bold green, and it came from this like dark forest green. So you can use this with anything. Like I use it with the teal a lot, and the teal comes out really pretty. That was just an example. If you have like questions, if I wasn't clear about something, just comment them below and I'll comment back. I try to answer like every single comment. I go through them pretty frequently. And then with white, they do make white silicone. You can buy that if you like the look of it better. It'll be way more opaque than this. This will kind of be more milky. The white silicone that you buy, that's at least in the GE brand, is a little bit runnier than the clear silicone for some reason. So it comes out a little more liquidy, so it's a little harder to work with. I wouldn't recommend it for maybe your first time ever, but it does look really nice. There's our milky white. Red is tricky. I almost should get like a maroon, but it's still pretty red. Another thing you can add at this step is glitter. But if you use glitter, use the finest possible grain you can see, because the first time I ever made a case, I was like, oh, I'll make it glittery. I used like big glitter flakes. Like they were, I'm exaggerating, 1mm by 1mm, square millimeter glitter flakes. They weren't, but they made it look like it was like grainy and sandy, and you couldn't tell that it was sparkly. So you want to use really fine glitter. The black looks pretty good. It's not very gray, it's pretty black. For the triple tone, you're gonna need 4 piping bags, and then I take 3 of them and cut them all at the exact same spot, just so they come out evenly. And then I like doing this kind of little trick that I found. You just put all the piping bags in on here at once. And then you fill it up. So now we're done with this. Then you can use like the paint that you have, or like anything flat, just something flat, and push all the silicone to the end of the bag. So you don't want it coming out the end, but just get it as close as possible. Once all of them are pretty close to the end, I think this is the part where like no one else really does this. I kind of get some like tape go to each one and twist the back so silicone can only come out in one direction. And then I'll like tape it. Triple tones are tricky. I think actually recently though I did a like quad tone, and you do it the same way, like doing a dual tone, triple tone, whatever. Just as many bags as you can fit. Last one. So then you get your piping bag and your piping tip, kind of throw it at the end, and then cut the end off just so like the piping tip sticks out but doesn't fall out. So then decide like what order you want your colors to go in. I'm thinking maybe put the white in the middle, or should I put the red in the middle? I think I'm gonna put the white in the middle because I know the colors will mix together and like black and red won't mix that well, but like there'll be gray in between here and like a light pink red in between there. That'll be cool. All right, and then you put them in. Try to like put them exactly evenly, like where the ends are. So this is like the tricky part because they don't fit in there at all. So, oh no, the black's already coming out. So this part, it's tricky doing a triple tone, but you gotta practice. Didn't learn this overnight. Get them as far as you can, which seems like this is it. And then just start like squeezing them out, I guess. Like trying to keep it even. It's not gonna be perfect, but it's fine because it's gonna look good no matter what. This is like a very fancy case, I gotta say. It's like triple tone with like 3 clay pieces. So really after that like initial squeeze, the rest is pretty easy because you don't even have to put them all in at the same time. You can be like black, get some white, some red, and then pull them out a little more, do the same thing. Like just at first, you don't want them like competing to come out the end. Okay, so once that's done, these just like throw away. It's helpful to keep a garbage bag around or like a old grocery bag or something. And then with this bag, they're gonna mix a little bit when you do this, but push them down just so they're like about to come out. And it's fine that they mix a little bit because you can actually use that to your advantage. For example, using pink, yellow, and then blue, you can create the illusion of a rainbow. Looks good. So there's your triple tone. It's not gonna be perfect, like I said. There's the back. And then at this point too, you can decide like which one looks more even and kind of face that way up because that's the one that's gonna be showing. I think it's this side, yeah, because the bottom isn't all white like this bottom is a little bit. So now you like twist the back just like you're piping a cake or like frosting, kind of twist it a bunch. The piping is what takes the most practice. When I first started doing this, I tried practicing by putting Play-Doh in a piping bag. It didn't come out at the right speed, so frosting would be my actual best advice for that. If you want to practice piping, like just use frosting. It's pretty similar to silicone, a little bit easier maybe, but if you get straight lines and like good puffs with frosting, you're golden. Biggest piece of advice here, when you're piping, you keep the piping tip in the exact same spot the whole time you make that puff. Don't try to like pull it as you go because that's gonna make a line. To make an actual big puff, you can go as big as you want by doing this trick. Just watch. So keep the end in the same spot at about a 45-degree angle. Hopefully you can see well from that camera. But yeah, about a 45-degree angle in the exact same spot. Just make your puff. That one wasn't perfect. A little bit more than a 45-degree angle actually. Yep, there we go. That looks a little better. And not every puff will be perfect, but when the whole case is together, it's like very cohesive. You're not gonna notice one bad puff, especially with decorations covering it. So don't stress. Just, yeah, move back, keep it in the same spot, move back, keep it in the same spot. That's about it. And then the end, most people I think just do 4 stripes and then do like 1 down the bottom. Squeezing it out faster out of the bag makes the puff smoother. Don't know why, but it just does. So like when you start going fast, like don't worry if there's a little bit of empty space because like I said, your decorations cover a lot of the case. I see some people on Instagram though that are just so freaking good at this. They do the biggest puffs. Their case has like no blank space. It's like freaking falling off the sides. That's my goal. Sometimes I can do that, but it depends on the consistency of the silicone and like all sorts of things. And your piping tip, honestly. Sometimes your piping tip gets like bent or like one of the little like spikes on the piping tip moves, gets bent somehow, and then your whole thing is like a little lopsided. This isn't my best piping work, I'm not gonna lie. It's gonna look good once it's all together. Sometimes the case with no decorations on it looks like perfect. It's so satisfying. This one's okay, but the triple tone looks really good. So you can see that they're not perfect, but it's fine. When the case is all put together, no one's gonna know. It looks great, and oh, I touched it. So that happens too. So you can see that when I touched it, it moved the silicone a little bit. Don't mess with it now. Once it dries, you can go in with some small scissors, like makeup scissors, and just cut those little like things sticking off, smooth it out like with the scissors, kind of sculpt it, and you're never gonna know that it was ever touched. Then you'll go to your reference picture. I like to put like 1 puff behind the decoration, like kind of at the top of where it'll be. So like that one's for the flower, and then I'll put the flower like right under it, like leaning up against it. And do another one for the sword thing. Maybe put one over there for it. You can kind of go like whatever you want, really. Whatever feels right. I'm gonna push that one down more because the sword is pretty skinny. So one thing with like clay is you wanna make it thick or like really bury it because the clay is more fragile than a regular decoration. And then I don't have nails right now. It's been a stressful couple weeks, but you can use like anything to push things down if you don't have nails to like reach in there without touching the silicone. But that's it. This is how the case turned out. Everything looks really good. You can see like it's balanced. There's red at the top, red at the bottom. Naruto's in focus. I just love it. And then if someone holds it for a selfie, like you can still see Naruto and all the decorations. So that's it. I hope I explained everything well. If you have any questions, just comment them down below. I'll answer everybody's. This case will be for sale on my Etsy. The link will be down below. The links for everything else will be down below in the description. Subscribe to see more videos, and I'll see you next week.